During the Second World War, militaries raced to create the perfect submachine gun, cheap, compact, and brutally effective in close quarters. Some nations went with precision engineering. Others prioritized mass production. But one particular category became iconic for its simplicity: the grease gun style submachine gun. These were weapons built from stamped metal, welded tubes, and as few moving parts as possible. They were crude, they were ugly, but they worked, and they worked everywhere. The nickname grease gun originally came from the American M3, a boxy little weapon that looked like it had come straight out of a mechanic's toolbox. But over time, the term grew to include an entire family of simple, utilitarian submachine guns built with the same philosophy: easy to produce, easy to maintain, and easy to fire. They were the backbone of resistance fighters, special forces, and entire armies that needed a dependable, close-quarters weapon without the complexity of more advanced designs. Today, we're looking at 7 of the best grease gun-style submachine guns ever built, the ones that proved that elegance doesn't win wars. Reliability does. The first is the American M3 itself. Designed as a cheaper alternative to the Thompson, the M3 was stamped, welded, and assembled with the bare minimum of machining. It was slow-firing, controllable, and unexpectedly accurate at close range. Troops used it in Europe, the Pacific, and later in Korea and Vietnam. It lacked glamour, but it made up for it with rugged practicality. Soldiers joked that it looked like a garage tool, and operated like one too, brutally simple and almost impossible to break. Then came the M3A1, a refinement that removed the complex cocking mechanism and simplified the design even further. Instead of a separate cocking handle, soldiers pulled the bolt directly with their fingers, a crude solution that actually made the weapon more reliable in harsh conditions. The M3A1 served with tank crews, special forces, and paratroopers long after the war ended, proving that sometimes less truly is more. But the grease gun concept wasn't just an American invention. Across the Atlantic, Britain delivered its own masterpiece, the Sten. Built for pennies, stamped from sheet metal, and assembled in small workshops, the Sten became the symbol of improvised wartime production. It wasn't perfect. Its magazines were notoriously fragile, but in the hands of resistance fighters, commandos, and paratroopers, it was deadly at close range, and its side-mounted magazine gave it an unmistakable shape that history never forgot. Sweden, however, took the grease gun concept and turned it into something extraordinary. The Carl Gustaf M/45, better known as the Swedish K, combined the simplicity of a garage-built submachine gun with a level of reliability that put most rivals to shame. It fed smoothly, resisted jamming, and maintained accuracy under conditions that broke other weapons. The Swedish K became legendary among special forces, particularly the CIA and US Navy SEALs, who trusted it more than many American guns. It proved that simplicity didn't have to mean fragility. It could mean flawless performance. Another contender was the Argentine PAM-2, a weapon heavily inspired by both the M3 and the Sten. Built for South American militaries, it was cheap, rugged, and ideal for tropical climates where mud, heat, and humidity destroyed more delicate firearms. Its straightforward construction made it popular among local forces and guerrilla fighters alike. The gun had no pretensions, only purpose. Then there was the British Sterling L 2A3. While more refined than the Sten, it retained the same grease gun ethos: tubular construction, stamped components, and extreme reliability. The Sterling's roller follower magazine solved the Sten's biggest flaw, offering smooth feeding even under stress. It served with the British Army for decades and became one of the most beloved 9mm submachine guns ever issued. Its accuracy, controllability, and durability made it the natural successor to the Sten. Everything the older weapon tried to be, perfected through smart engineering. Finally, we have the Israeli Uzi. Some might argue it was too refined to be called a grease gun, but at its core, the Uzi was built with the same philosophy: simplicity, durability, and mass production. Its stamped steel receiver, compact layout, and telescoping bolt made it ideal for tank crews, airborne troops, and special forces. The Uzi's reliability and ergonomics made it a global icon, used by dozens of nations and countless paramilitary groups around the world. In terms of influence, no grease gun style SMG ever matched the Uzi's impact. What ties all these weapons together isn't beauty or sophistication. It's the idea that a submachine gun doesn't have to be complicated to be effective. In fact, the simpler the design, the more soldiers trusted it. These guns survived sandstorms, snow, jungles, and urban warfare. They were carried by elite forces and irregular fighters alike. They were repaired with hammers, nails, and whatever tools were on hand. And despite their crude appearance, they saved countless lives through sheer mechanical reliability. Modern firearms have moved beyond the grease gun era. Today's submachine guns use polymers, precision machining, and advanced ergonomics. But the legacy of those stamped metal workhorses is still visible in every modern military. They proved that in the chaos of war, with dirt, mud, blood, and exhaustion everywhere, the weapons that matter most are the ones that simply refuse to stop working. The grease guns of the Second World War and the Cold War were never glamorous. They never had sleek lines or futuristic features. They didn't impress on parade grounds, but they impressed where it counted: in trenches, in forests, on beaches, in city ruins, and deep behind enemy lines. And above all, they taught the world that in war, reliability is the highest form of sophistication.